Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Robert. I have spent the past 10 years in high growth startups. And the thing I've really specialized over the past 6 years is high growth Shopify direct to consumer brands. And in today's video, I'm going to be dissecting the top 5 ways that you can get to your first $1 million month on Shopify, whether you want to do that via setting up your own brand or whether you want to do that through being a drop shipper. There are many different ways of creating your first $1 million Shopify store. Now, number 5 is going to be so important for your growth, and it's probably the one thing most first-time founders and beginners struggle with the most or don't even consider, and the first 4 are going to lead up to that. And as always, if this video is helpful to you, please comment, subscribe. It helps me reach more people who want to learn more about startups, business, e-commerce, and really just share what I've learned with many more people. So let's go into tip number 1. The first thing is to launch a Shopify store with as low a cost base as possible. Now, Shopify has made this incredibly simple, and the best example for this is Mr. Beast Feastables. You see, they have a completely free Shopify store. If you set up a Shopify account, you'll get a free trial to begin with, and then the first 3 months will be $1 per month. That is basically zero cost overhead. From there, when you're setting up your very first store, Shopify have the most amazing array of free themes. This means you don't need a developer. You don't need to be a whiz when it comes to computer skills. You can literally just open a store for free for the phase. You can open store for free for the first few days, install a free theme, set up your first products, and you are ready to go already. Costs will creep up, so the more that you can reduce your costs, the better. The second step for increasing your store's revenue is to make sure you understand your marketing channels. And for this, you need to start with one marketing channel at a time. So say you've got some marketing budget, say you've got $10,000 to invest into your business. Pick Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, Snapchat ads. Don't do everything at once. The main reason for this is if you started to advertise on every single channel, the first thing is you're not going to understand if one channel does well, what was the core driver of success on your website. If you muddy the waters and you try and do everything at once, you're then not going to know what has worked perfectly. And this is probably the biggest mistake first-time founders make that I advise when they are doing marketing in a small startup. If you do everything at once, the downside is you don't know what works. Now, to play devil's advocate, if you do everything at once, you can learn faster. However, in the early stages of a business, it's really important to simplify. So please pick one marketing channel, dedicate your time solely to that, and learn, analyze, and then once you've reached success or failure within that marketing channel, move on to the next one or decide to iterate, but keep things simple. Tip number 3, you need to understand how to bring returning customers back to your business. It's very likely that your cost of acquisition to acquire a customer in the early stages of your business, because nobody will know your brand, it's going to be very expensive to acquire customers. And therefore, in order to increase your profit over time and really create a profitable Shopify store, you're going to have to do great email campaigns, set up your automated flows, and have retargeting within your Facebook or Google campaigns so that you can really start to build your business based upon returning customers. As an example, if it costs you $100 to acquire a customer and they spend $50 in your store, if they don't come back and spend another $50, $100, $200, you're going to be losing money. Vice versa, if you have a lot of cheap customers who come in at a very cheap acquisition cost, $50, and they spend $100, if they never come back again, you're not going to get any extra revenue out of them. And so the most successful Shopify stores and D2C brands have the ability to bring returning customers into their store every single month on demand via email campaigns and retargeting. Step number 4 is having really good margin structure. Now, this is quite technical, but as a founder, you have to understand all the commercials of your business. And even if you have phenomenal customer acquisition or phenomenal retention, or you have a very low cost basis to run your business, if you don't have the right margins, you're going to fail at some point. You're going to have cash flow issues when you have to do a large purchase order, or you are miscalculating your acquisition costs and your marketing spend, and actually it's too much and you don't make the gross margin on the back end. Every founder needs to do the following things. First of all, you need to write down the top line cost of that product that you're going to sell. Secondly, you need to add a 60 or 70% gross margin on top of that to get your revenue per product. The reason for that is if you look at the world's best product companies, they have a 70 or 80% gross margin. And so you need to be able to go, what's your top line revenue minus your costs? And that should be a 60 to 80% gross margin. If you don't have that, you either need to be very well funded as a business or be in a very sticky sector that once you acquire a customer, you're going to get a lot of returning business, which is going to feed into your margin. So make sure that you are getting very good gross margins so that you have the ability to invest in marketing, invest in headcount, invest in agencies, invest in employees, so that you can start to build out a team around your business, because you're not going to want to be the only employee forever, especially if you're building a Shopify store. And the fifth thing you need to do in order to build a $1 million per month Shopify store, and that is the following. You need to understand how to get to $1 million. Now that may sound like a very silly thing to say, but a lot of founders jump into businesses, start up Shopify stores, expect to be doing millions, but actually haven't figured out how to get to $1 million. So let's do the maths. If you sell a product for $50 and you want to get to $1 million, if you want to get all of your revenue from brand new customers, you have to divide $1 million by $50, and that will give you the amount of customers that you need to acquire. However, if you are selling a great product, a lot of the revenue that you're going to generate within that $1 million bucket is going to come from returning customers, and therefore you may only need to acquire $500,000 from new customers, because you know $500,000 come from returning customers. And by reverse engineering the $1 million, you're going to know how much marketing expenditure you need to spend. You're going to have to understand how much email marketing can play into your returning revenue, because emails can be very, very cheap in order to generate revenue. And if you can build up a large email database where you can generate a lot of revenue from that email database, it's going to save you a lot of money in terms of not having to spend on advertising. And you're going to have very healthy margins when you look at the $1 million. So that's the biggest tip. Reverse engineer everything. So if you want to get to $1 million or 100,000 or 10,000, or even just get to your first $1,000 month, if you need 1,000 customers and each one's going to cost you $100, you actually need to spend $100,000 in order to acquire those customers. So use those 5 tips in order to get to your first $1 million month. When you look at all those 5 tips together, start with the 5th one, reverse engineer. That will determine the margins that you need to generate within your business to pay for the acquisition costs and make sure that you are not running at a loss, and ensure you have a cash flow deficit every single month. So go and put those tips into practice. Like, comment, subscribe. Please let me know what you think is helpful, what you would love to learn from me, and see you in the next video.